I've got to ask you, when you were filming that, did you find it extraordinary? Was this the sort of activity you hadn't seen before? That's why you put your camera on it. And how safe did you feel?
I have seen it boiling for the last 3 to 4 weeks. It's been escalating. I wasn't at all prepared to see that, no. I wouldn't have stayed there otherwise. I was terrified. I was frightened for my life for the first time in my life. There were so many children on the streets and they were just filled with hatred. And as we've spoken about before, not one of these kids were intoxicated. They were just filled with hate. And it was like a sport for them to taunt anyone in the firing line. It didn't matter who you were, what colour you were. It was just, if they're in the firing line, it's such an incredibly dangerous situation.
You're no shrinking violet. You've worked in the prison system. You've been a nurse for 14 years. You've been on the front line in a lot of these Aboriginal communities. Give us a sense. You've been inside the system. What have you seen?
I've seen things that will haunt me forever. And I'm not alone. All of my colleagues see the same thing on a daily basis. And I've seen a little 4-year-old boy come in with the anal warts, a 6-year-old girl with the vaginal sores, an entire family from the little kids to the parents with the same strain of gonorrhea. I've had a colleague speak about when they had a call out to a local community in town here in Darwin that they saw a man raping an 8-year-old girl, and he had covered her entire lower half of her body with butter, and the girl was not crying, she wasn't moving, she wasn't screaming. It was just normal behaviour for her. And this is what happens in some of these town camps and remote communities here in Darwin, definitely down in Alice Springs. And as we've all been saying now today, this is why these kids are out in the street, because they do not feel safe at home.
So what happens when you see that as a medical person? We know that there's mandatory reporting, Rachel. I mean, I'm holding myself together because I find this harrowing. What happens when you report that up the chain? There is a multitude of organisations I drove past in Alice Springs, all paid for by the taxpayer to protect these kids. So when you report that, what happens?
You do the right thing and you report it and you see it and it's horrific, and you have to take that home to your own family and your own children. And once you report it, it's out of your hands and you never know where it goes. And the police do the best they can. It's just there's not enough resources, and some of these people are just lost. They're unidentifiable and victims will not come forward. And let me just say, if things were working as they were now with all the government agencies trying to tackle this problem, we wouldn't be here. It's not working. We need to all come together now and stop this all of this political jostling and the narcissism that I'm seeing from our political leaders just trying to secure votes and their next term and their social platforms or their political platforms is disgusting. Please just stop. It's about these kids. It's about the poor people of Alice Springs. They had a town meeting yesterday, and 3,500 people attended out of a town of 26,000. That's a cry for help if I've ever seen one. And there was a report today that they selectively picked 3 people to interview and labelled the entire group of 3,500 people as white supremacists. What are we doing? Those people are in pain. Those people are frightened for their lives, and they are trying to come up with solutions to tackle this problem because no one else will. And whatever's happening now, it's not working, and they get labelled white supremacists. How do these people sleep at night? It's disgusting. Every media outlet in Australia needs to come together now. Every government organisation, every politician, just please get on the same page now. We've had enough. It's not about you. It's about Alice Springs. It's about these kids. It's about Northern Australia. It's about every single community. Please.
Rachel, you